Joining us in the studio is the image maker, Airline, Chris Iwala. Chris, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you join us now. You've been the man of the moment last 1 week or something.
Pleased to
Trying
be here.
to explain it away. We also have the Lagos State APC Publicity Secretary, Joey Bokwe, with us in the studio. He was a passenger on board the Air Peace aircraft. Well, we also expect somebody else
we'll be
join
having
us
the
later.
public.
But for now,
We hope to have. All right, we have the Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, Sam Aduroboye, joining us on phone. Sam, good morning. It's good to have you join us as well on phone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, I think let's start from Joey Bokwe here. Although he's here not in the capacity of...
he's not a politician.
He's not a politician, so don't, don't expect to hear anything politics from him this morning. Well, Joe, we read your piece, what you wrote after that incident. And a lot of people, it drew attention to, oh, so you were there, what happened and all of that. Can you give us the feeling? Oh, okay, fine. Maybe let's play the video again. So some Nigerians may not have seen the video that went viral.
Yeah.
That was what caused the first panic. So let's play that video and then we come to you to hear your side of the story. Just that recording seemed to be the only one that Nigerians got to see and felt and bonded with what happened that day. So let's come to you, Joe.
I wonder how it felt, being a passenger on that aircraft.
Well, I was going to Makurdi for APC Publicity Secretary's conference because I happen to be their chairman of conference of APC Publicity Secretary. So we have our AGM in Makurdi. So I figured that going through Enugu would be better for me when I get to Enugu and I'll pick a car to Makurdi. That was how my nightmare started. We boarded by 7. It was a 7 o'clock flight. And we got into the plane, 7 o'clock. I was sitting. 7:30, 1 hour. We couldn't move. People started asking questions. What is going on? What's going on? First, they told us that they are waiting for paperwork, and to complete their, I don't know what they want. They didn't just know what to say. And we waited. One lady was shouting, "What? Can somebody tell us what is happening?" I even picked a quarrel with that lady. I said, "Calm down. Listen first." We quarreled. But I was not talking to her, she was the one talking. And they said that they are waiting for, how long will you wait? 1 hour, getting to 1.5 hours. I looked through the window because I was sitting by the side of the window. I saw that some engineers are fiddling with the aircraft. It was after that some of us saw what was going on because nobody was talking. They now said they are trying to fix the air conditioner so that it will not be too cold or too hot up there. We waited. 1 hour, 1.5, going to 2 hours. They then came back and announced that we should all disembark. We came out of the plane, and there was a parked one, very close to that place, yes. We all, the passengers, somebody apparently asked them to start going to that plane. They went to the staircase. I was down. I surveyed the aircraft, peeling paints, looking old, but it didn't give me anything. I just stayed, because from the staircase to the plane, everywhere is packed full. People are just rushing. So I was down on the tarmac. So, and after about 30 minutes, they said we should go back to the airport lounge. Now we're not going to use this one. We all went. I said, when we got into the lounge, I went to buy something. So I didn't even know they had made the announcement for us to go back to that second aircraft.
The
So
one,
One you have disembarked from.
No, not the first, the second
okay,
one.
the
The
second
second
one,
one,
the
we
one that
didn't
was
enter.
packed
We were just
by.
on the staircase.
Okay.
So they asked us to now go back. So they now asked us to go back to that second one. I didn't know. I was the last to come in because I went to doing another thing. I was losing hope that this thing may not happen. So we eventually entered that second plane and we moved. 20 minutes into the air, trouble started. All we had was, oxygen mask, dropping. I know, they always tell us these things. Anytime you want to, some of us will not pay
What to
attention.
do.
What to
Yes.
do. So we don't want to pay attention. So there was panic. And I tried to figure out that oxygen mask. They tell you there's something you tie. And it didn't work. It wasn't working. It was faulty. So I just used my hand, this left hand, to put my own hand out of washing. People were crying, babies were crying. Because you have to take care of yourself first. Before your baby.
That's always the instruction.
People were screaming, some people fainted. It was chaotic. It looks as if there's smoke. There was smoke inside the plane.
Yeah.
But I was calm.
Okay.
One particular man was calm. Taking the picture, was it? He said, these people are not even talking.
All right, let's go to Sam Adurogboye, who is he's a public relations officer at the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, and they are the regulators. Sam, I wonder what you have to say about these things, because, yeah, from the passenger's point of view and the airline operator's point of view, from the regulator, because in responding to these concerns, on the part of Air Peace, they've sort of like played it down, saying, look, depressurization is a normal thing, in flights and all of that. Talk to us about exactly what exactly is depressurization, and how much regulation really goes in to ensure that such things don't even happen in the first place?
Well, thank you very much for having me in this program discussion this morning. Every information time, even before I come to explain the pressurization, what it means, even the testimony being given there by the passenger, chief, is of value to us. Everything is going to piece together and, of course, lay side by side with the record of the plane, with the maintenance aspect, with, of course, whatever the crew has written to us. We'll still go further, analyze it, and come to a good conclusion. But having said that, aircraft is built with what you call pressurization. You are going to, this aircraft is going to be suspended in the air. It doesn't have access to the air outside. So that is why the oxygen is already induced, stored in there to sustain life that are inside. But if things go wrong, or if you get to a level where there is emergency for the people inside, then that depressurization are taking place, the mask will automatically drop, or if it didn't drop by itself, the pilot in command will initiate it and it will deploy it. So whatever happens, as it is now, we can't come to a conclusion here. It is for us now to analyze, go into details of what led to it. Why did it even drop in the first place? And if it dropped, why was it not deployable? Why is it not available for them to use? All this we have to find out before we come to a conclusion. That is where it is. That is where we are now.
Okay. All right. Now, Chris, let me bring you in here eventually. You have issued out statements, apologizing to Nigerians and even the passengers and all of that. But let's understand some of these things. This particular aircraft is said to have, from your statement you issued out, had got its certificate of airworthiness on December 10th.
Yep.
And then also had its C check in September 2017.
Last year.
Exactly. So, and a C check, for instance, is a major overhaul of trying to service an aircraft.
Definitely.
And the air oxygen masks and all of that are also part of interest of C checks to ensure. Now, from the account of Joe Igboukwe, he said that some of the oxygen masks didn't work. So how would you explain this?
Well, I want to start by apologizing to passengers we'll be insensitive if we just go into the fact of the matter without first doing that. Whatever the situation is, we're a customer-sensitive organization, and we start from there always. It causes you trauma when you have to pass through certain situations you may have been briefed about, but you were not expecting, especially in this part of the world. I love where it started from, that a lot of us don't pay attention, and that's the basic truth. We've seen situations where the safety briefing is going on. What you have people do is use their phones, people will be chatting, talking away, people playing music. We tend to think that the safety briefing is for fun. It's not for fun. Now, when these things happen, and as we said in our statement, it doesn't take much to know how common these events are. It's a very common one. In aviation everywhere, you Google, you see it in Europe, legacy airlines of the world, you will find these things repeatedly.
It's very common that when an aircraft is airborne, that oxygen masks just fall off.
No, you have to understand.
Depressurization
Aviation is all about safety.
Yes.
The aircraft is built to be sensitive to that fact. So if you get to some point above 10,000 feet, 10,000 feet above sea level, once you exceed 10,000 feet above sea level, at that level, what you have on board and what is outside will have to be regulated. So if there is a challenge, there's a loss of cabin pressure, there's a change in cabin pressure. In fact, that's the word we always use. The cabin crew will tell you, in case there's a change in cabin pressure, the mask will drop. The mask from above your head, from the panel above your head will drop. And when they drop, this is how to use them. This thing is well demonstrated, so that passengers are aware. Now, it is a plus. It is, it goes to show that the aircraft is working well. If you get to that stage, there is change in cabin pressure, and these things automatically deploy.
But in this case, eyewitnesses insist that there were no masks, that it was only the pipes.
That is why I'm coming to. That is why I'm just building this background so that you understand. So these masks dropped immediately. And the oxygen will last about 12 minutes. Now, it is impossible for you to see those tubes without a mask. It is impossible. As we said in our statement, these are items of interest when you do your C checks. You will not just do your C checks. After you've done your C checks, you will come back here. It is not all. The regulator will also check to confirm that the C check you did was standard.
All right, how concerned are you, Chris, that an eyewitness who was there said that this thing didn't work, or some didn't work, secondly, when some of them dropped, they didn't have the mask, they just had tubes.
No, it's not possible. That's what I'm saying. It's not possible for these things to drop without the tubes. In fact, there is an extra. There's an extra mask. So if you have issues with any, there is also an extra mask you can use. Now, people talked of smoke. What we found out two things. A lot of persons didn't know how to feed their masks. That was one challenge we had. You can expect that sometimes.
In a panic situation.
In a panic situation. Then some persons pull too hard. Then these things, the equipment snap. That's why you saw some of those tubes. On ground, the aircraft, these things we are seeing there. It's impossible for these things to be up there, for it to deploy at all without the mask. So this is what we want people to understand. And people talked of smoke. What they were referring to smoke actually was that in that panic situation when these things snapped severally and all that, it was a gas that was escaping. The oxygen that was escaping, that was what they were describing as smoke.
But was the gas supposed to escape?
No, because it has snapped. It's a tube. It should flow. It should flow from the gas generator to the mask. But when it snaps and you have the tube, definitely you have things that look like smoke, not smoke really.
Okay.
It's the oxygen that was escaping.
Yes. Let's hear from Joe. Joe was there. Certainly.
Well, I was there, so he was not there. You could get a certification on something that is faulty. We know You know how some of these things work. People take so many things for granted in this country.
Doesn't work that way.
And that is why we're here, where we are today. You sit in your office and ask somebody to do this. You may not have done that.
Well, that would depend on
So
where you get
but
the
that- but
certification.
He has
That's-
to understand. He
but-
has to understand how this industry works, so
Let me-
that when
let-
we go
let-
out there,
let me-
when we go out there, we know what we're saying.
Let me
Because
let
talk
yes.
first.
Yes.
Let Joe speak.
After I came back with earpiece by 9 o'clock Friday night.
With the same airline.
No, not the same. 5 and BUK. Stable. Fantastic. You know, I'm a mechanical engineer, so when I talk, you have to listen. I know a faulty engine when I say one. I know an old machine if I say one. You know, there's no parking space in the air.
Absolutely not.
There's no parking space in the air. That's what we must know. I pulled my own, everything, the tubes were hanging. I just used this my left hand to breathe. Others, I understand what is in the panic situation you could destroy, but it didn't drop even to my level. It didn't get to where I have to pull it to get to my level. In that process,
And
so
of
many
course,
things,
in the process
so many
of
things
pulling
went
it,
wrong.
the chances are that you would...
You're talking about mothers with kids, school children who are going on holidays. It was terrible. It was terrible. And thereafter, after that incident, you know, normalcy was restored, but the movement slowed down. We are told we are going to land in a few minutes, that we should get ready for landing. It didn't happen. Always going up and down. You could see when it goes up, when it goes down, when you see the management, the difficulties to get a balance again. We're all fainting. But I was stable. One, 2, 3 of us were stable. Others were not. All the passengers, almost 300 passengers.
It's a
And
passenger's
it
worst
was when we
nightmare.
got down,
Yes.
when we landed, that they told us, people at the airport, that this plane passed through the airport, because it took some time. It took about 40, 50 minutes to find the airport. They moved over. The airman moved over only to return. They said the man missed the track. In that panic situation, everybody, and the most important thing is there was no communication. If you drop, they will tell us this is normal, that when you are dropping, you need to, you know, you experience that kind of thing. They will be talking to you, but nobody was talking. Even the attendants were panicking.
All right, let's bring in Sam here. Sam is the PRO for the regulators. Now, when you hear accounts like this, I wonder what kind of investigation will go on, because it is obvious that the statement by Air Peace said that this aircraft had its certification for airworthiness and certainly also had its C check just the previous year, and it takes about 18 months to have another C check. So it is still within a very safe zone. But from the accounts we have heard, there was something basically wrong with that aircraft. And an aircraft that just had its C check and had its airworthiness. So what kind of investigation is the NCAA carrying out in this regard?
Well, it's a good question. Whatever we do in aviation is never speculative. Everything is based on facts. You have an occurrence there. What has just happened is an occurrence, and you have to establish what led to it. What are the contributing factors? And I just said it, that even the information being given by the passengers is key to us. You lay it side by side with what the engineers on board are saying. You lay it side by side with what the pilot in command is telling us. You check the records, the maintenance, everything has to be analyzed to prevent an accident. They are with the occurrence where you operate your machine. They are bound to, even with a brand new. So to ask me what investigation, it means you just want us to agree with the speculative news analysis going on. No, we have to analyze, even the video. So until we analyze it side by side, come to our conclusion before we'll be able to establish this is exactly what went wrong. That's how it is done anywhere.
Let me stay with you, Sam. As a regulator, when an airline has 5 close calls, in October, the same Air Peace had an issue. There was the same return, I think it was Lagos Owerri, if I can recall. When an airline suffers or experiences this frequent, incidents, is it a signal for the regulator to say, look, that we need to check this airline out and be sure that the aircraft are in good condition, not just the aircraft, but the human element, whether it's the pilots and all of that, they're all, you know, where they should be. How often does the regulator come in spite of the C checks and the other checks that have been done and certifications and all of that?
Well, again, the more operation you have, the more occurrences that are going to happen. You are talking of an airline that has a big fleet, more flights. There are about to be occurrences every day. It's a machine they are operating. Even if you park it, after a while, certain issues will develop. And the one you are operating, issues will occur. And the more you have there, the more we continue to analyze it to prevent an accident. For you not to have an incident, it means somebody is hiding information. So the occurrences, as they are happening, is we'll keep analyzing it, we'll keep placing a tap on them, we're on ground, we monitor it, we do a surveillance.
How easy is it? How easy is it for you know, airlines to actually circumvent, to you know, maybe compromise the regulator?
Well, the issue of safety is not a question of circumvent. It is something that we are involved. For example, that every aircraft that is taken off, somebody has to sign a release that it is airworthy to go for each one. Each one, somebody has to sign a document, and you even have to be on board that aircraft. If you release an aircraft that is safe to fly, you will be on board that aircraft. You are the eye of the regulator. That is why you don't sign it to go and be on ground. You join them. So that goes to show that it's a serious issue. For every aircraft to take off in the morning, somebody has released it that it is okay. That is the first thing. And the person that signed it okay to fly will be on board. And I don't think that anybody has the life to waste. So the issue is so serious that whatever we are saying, nobody will deliberately release an airplane that is not safe to go into the air. That is not possible.
Okay. Thank you. Let me come back to Chris. The point there is, Nigerians are lucky or thankful that this airplane the worst didn't happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't even be sitting here to talk about accounts from persons who were on that aircraft. Now, your chairman, Alan Onyema, there was a report credited to him at saying that Nigerians were overreacting over whatever happened. And a lot of people saw that as really insensitive.
I would love to permit me, because he made some grave statements, allegations. It will not be fair if I do not respond to those.
Go ahead.
I need to respond to
Yes.
that. You cannot be an engineer. I'm surprised you said that. You can't be an engineer, you look at an aircraft and you just know that the aircraft is faulty. The BUK he talked about was the first aircraft they were to use. The very first aircraft. That aircraft is described as fantastic. That aircraft was
fantastic. That was not what he described as fantastic.
No, the one he came back, what he came back with. I'm trying to say,
the one he came back from Makurdi.
I'm trying to say, if you see, if the mere fact that you were transferred from one aircraft to another doesn't mean that there was something terrible with that aircraft. I'm trying to say that same aircraft you were supposed to use initially was the same aircraft, and he talked of rapid descent. Now, once this thing happened, I told you earlier on that it is supposed to last for about 12 minutes. Now, the aircraft was supposed to descend normally. In a normal situation, you descend gradually. That's why you are told.
So what you're saying that within 12 minutes...
It has to be rapid.
No, hold on. Within 12 minutes, you would have been able to solve whatever the problem is.
Within 12 minutes, the pilot is expected to descend to a level below 10,000 feet above sea level. Then everything normalizes. At that point, the pilot's interest is not to talk to you. The pilot's interest is to bring the plane to a comfortable level. So it is when you get to that level, the pilot is now ready to speak with you about what is happening. So talking about the aircraft coming down rapidly, there's no issue. It's
some eyewitnesses actually claim that the same aircraft that had this incident, after people had disembarked, was going to take off again with another set of passengers.
We don't do that.
Okay.
We don't do that. In fact, once that happened, that aircraft was without anybody compelling us.
Grounded?
It was grounded.
Is it still grounded?
it is still grounded because our engineers will have to check. Because especially, not because it could not have been easily fixed and all that, but because of the controversy it has generated. You don't tamper with anything. You leave that. I want to also respond. We do 3/4 of all flights in Nigeria, at least 90 flights daily. You expect to have situations, so don't compare us.
All right,
with
but
people.
you were here, Chris. Yeah, but Chris, you remember?
You talked of air returns. Yesterday we did another air return. It's a safety measure. What is air return?
Yeah, but
you are flying. We got to Enugu. When we got to Enugu, the weather became bad, so you had to come back.
Yeah, Chris, we don't have time now, but you know that for a start, he was saying that for about 2 hours, or at least above an hour, they were on ground. You people didn't take off, and there was no communication.
That happens
because
it is not correct that there was no communication. The first
first
thing the pilot told them was that the AC was overcooling.
Okay, let's Joe, just few seconds before we leave.
Let me, first they lied. They lied that they were trying to complete the documentation and paperwork. But I was sitting very close to the window and I saw some engineers fiddling with that aircraft. That's number one. Number two is that after the incident, we came back to normalcy. How come you overflew the airport?
That's not correct. You cannot be in the
But you were not there. You were not there.
You can't be in an aircraft and know that you have overflown the airport.
Can you listen?
Just hold on.
He said he was told.
Can you listen? When we came down, these are
you
drivers.
Said you were told.
When we landed, you see, people play with other people's lives.
It's hearsay, sir.
You can give your car to a mechanic. I will not do the job you paid.
That is not correct, sir.
All right, come to paper certification and all of that. Those are ideal things. Like Sam said earlier on, these are mechanical issues. You can buy a brand new car and the fault can occur. Definitely. So when a passenger told you this and this and this happened, is it impossible to say that is impossible?
No, you tread with caution. It's better to err on caution. Because even the engineer who has been fixing aircraft for 30 years will not assume. The engineer says, one thing we must understand, the pilot is the first safety officer of an aircraft. If the pilot sees that there's any little indication in the flight deck, no pilot, I tell you, no pilot would fly a plane. Pilots don't want to commit suicide. Cabin crew members don't want to commit suicide. No pilot would take off if everything is not certified okay. And people must also understand how these things go. As Sam rightly said, at different points, the aircraft has to be released. An engineer will be there. Say, I sign, I'm certified. I signed for this, I've checked everything, it is okay. Working also with the pilot of the aircraft. There are other people who will be involved. It's not a one-man's job.
How many stages of,
of clearance?
Of clearance do you get?
You have a
typically?
lot. You have those within. You have those you have to do the regulators. Before you take off, they will ensure that everything is okay for you.
I wonder if Sam Adrogboye is still there on the line.
I think he's gone.
He's gone.
Okay, he's there.
He's still there. Okay, Sam, let me quickly bring this. He's gone. Okay, unfortunately, because I was going to, in trying to put the statistics together so that Nigerians can understand, since 1969 till 2012, there have been 48 crashes in 43 years.
Yes.
And I was going to ask the regulator if that kind of figure is something really to worry about. How confidently can you say that air travel is safe in Nigeria?
What should gladden us is that in the last 10 years,
yes,
in about a decade in Nigeria, you've not had a crash. All over the world.
Are you saying that the regulator is stricter now? Is that what it is?
I would not want to compare with the past, but what I know is that the regulators you have, I'm not speaking for them, but the regulators are even over-regulating because of this kind of statements people make.
And then there's, of course, the question of who regulates the regulator. I need you to
I need to also explain, because it's critical. Let's look at these things. Before any organization works on any aircraft, that organization first will be certified by the NCA to even work. They will check a lot of things. And we're talking of international organizations. They don't just work for Air Peace. These are organizations that work for the big airlines of the world. Those are the facilities we use. On ground that are based in Lagos, we have BCT Aviation of the UK. What do? Anytime the aircraft lands, they conduct their checks. And if an aircraft goes for service, for C checks, one just came back 2 a.m. today. Now, before we bring that aircraft back to service, we'll first tell NCA this aircraft has come. In fact, before that aircraft came, NCA had also gone to do their checks on ground.
So you don't lose us and lose the viewer. Let's bring it to Joy Bokwe.
Okay, I want to raise some.
You said you have some
I want to raise
fundamental
some
questions.
Yes, to raise that which they must provide an answer.
As a passenger?
Yes, as a passenger, which must provide an answer. Who did the certification? Did he follow
What certification?
Due process?
No, I don't want you to interrupt me now.
No, I was
Who did the certification? You know, we talked about safety checks and all that. Who did it?
Yeah.
Who did it? Is it in order? Number two, what is the age of that aircraft?
All right.
What is the age? Is it still safe to fly it? The mechanical situations of that aircraft, we want to know. Because I used 5N BUK when I was coming back, and I know the difference. From what took us to Enugu and what brought me back to Lagos. Same Air Peace.
Yeah.
So we are
And
not,
the other
if I have
questions-
no confidence in Air Peace, I won't take it back because I had an alternative for Eric. Eric was there. Because when I was coming, I had to go by road from Makurdi to Lagos. I didn't go back to
There are so many
Enugu.
other alternatives
Yes.
differently.
But I came back. Number
Yeah.
three, why did the aircraft miss Enugu Airport?
Which is
Only
says-
to come back.
which is
He
says
was not
did
there.
not happen.
He was not there. He was not there. Those that were on ground had noticed that there was a problem. Those were on ground. More than the people that came to take their people were weeping.
Chris,
Weeping
let
at
me
the
ask you a
airport.
pointed question, really.
I'm coming, man.
I know that you...
I'm coming.
He
I
said
see
he was
how-
raising
Okay, you have
questions.
one more question to
He
ask.
said he raised questions.
was
I will
it-
need
Yeah.
to respond to those
Yes, he
questions.
has questions.
Why is it that there was lack of communication?
Okay.
At the critical point, nobody was talking.
Nobody
One
said
man was saying, these people are not talking.
Okay.
Stable
Chris, very
man.
quickly.
Yeah.
Well educated.
I start
Listen,
from- I
Let
start-
I didn't
Chris,
know-
Joe,
I
let
start
Chris answer
I
those
start from
questions.
the last one. I said it before. Maybe
Who
you didn't really
regulates?
hear me.
Yes.
No, I start
Who
from the
gave
last
the-
one because that's the easiest
Okay,
one.
uh-huh.
I said
Communication?
at the point where the marks dropped, where you had a change in cabin pressure, the pilot's interest is to bring the aircraft.
Even when the passengers had boarded and were in
don't
the
have only-
aircraft
don't have
for
only
like
one
1
person.
hour,
I did
nobody
that.
said anything.
Somebody's in command. If somebody's in command,
Okay.
it's that person who is in command that will talk with you. This is your captain speaking, not someone else. The captain is in charge. The captain.
But Joe didn't hear anybody
No,
say
you have.
anything.
He said after everything, before they started talking to you,
Okay.
have your interest is to bring it to a point that is below 10,000 feet. So that answers that. The next question was.
All right, you know, you cannot take all this.
no,
But
he
at
also-
the
he
airlines,
also-
let me
who
ask
does
you a
the
question
certification?
before we go.
Yes.
Is the Nigerian aviation sector under pressure to deliver with the challenges of forex that you know has been there, and of course the aviation fuel and all of that? Do you find yourselves having to sort of cut corners?
Never.
So that you can maximize
We're not
your profit?
we are not under
Because
a-
a lot of people, Nigerians are already describing the airlines as molars in the air.
We had no reason to be under pressure, and that is the question. Is they say, how old is this plane?
Yes.
I tell you, the plane the U.S. president used, the #1 plane, is over 40 years old. In the aviation industry, some planes are retired around 30-something. That's the average.
Okay.
All-
How old is
how
this
old is
flight?
this one?
How old is this
I
flight?
can't sit here and tell you what
Okay.
I can tell you is that all our planes are way below the global average.
All right, we have to leave
Way
you here
below the
now.
global average.
We have to leave you here now. Chris Iwala, Head Communications Air Peace, thank you for coming this morning.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And Joy Bukwe, State Publicity Secretary, APC Lagos, thank you for coming. And we celebrate
Thank
that,
God that I'm alive.
thank God you are alive with us.
Some people, alive. That is sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.